In this video, we're going to be looking at how we can use the suction fluid tool to create a liquid-filled skull from the box of fluid down below. So let's get started. Here I have a new scene in Houdini. I'm going to call in my skull. So I'm going to click on File. There's my skull. And I'm going to hit the Enter key to place it at the origin. You can, of course, use any geometry you wish. Let me just dive inside, double click to go in, and I'm going to just hit the Tab key and type Transform, hit Shift Enter, and I'm going to just rotate it 90 degrees in the X-axis. So the rest, if I want to position it, I can always jump back in later on and make the changes. So I'm going to hit the U key to jump back out, and now I'm going to create my flip tank. So click on Particle Fluids, click on Flip Tank, hit the Enter key to place it at the origin. Of course, your mouse has to be in the 3D viewport. There it is. So now I'm just going to make some minor adjustments to the tank size. I'm going to pull up the base a bit and adjust the water line. And if I need to make any changes later on, I can just jump back in here and make my adjustments. So I'm going to hit the U key to go back out and lay out my nodes. Next, I'm going to double click to go inside the Autodop network and just get a few more particles in here. So let me reduce the particle separation, something like that. And now I'm ready to click on the suction fluid tool. So let's click on it, follow the instructions below, click on the skull, hit Enter, and click on the flip fluid and hit Enter key. And now you'll see that I have a few nodes created for me. Let me just maximize my network editor and hit the L key to lay out my nodes. I'm going to hit the P key to get the parameter pane, and by default the suction force node is selected. And essentially these are the controls that you need to tweak to control the look of your suction force effect. So by default, let's actually play it to see what it looks like. I'm going to just turn on real-time toggle, and I'm going to just increase the number of frames. And now let's hit the up arrow key to play it. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to hit the up arrow key to stop and hit the D key. And in the background tab, I'm going to set my color scheme to dark so I can see the particles better. Hit the D key to close it, and let's continue with the up arrow key. So right off the bat, we get some suction force happening, but it's kind of slow and it's not enough that it's engulfing the full shape of the skull. So there's a few things that we need to tweak, most of which are in this suction force node. But the first one we're going to do is, let me just hit Control and up arrow key to go back to the frame 1 and hit the U key to jump back out and dive inside the skull node. And here you can see that I have a suction target node created for us. So if we select that, in the volume tab, there's the option to change the voxel size. If we move the display flag down to the volume node and select it, we can see that this is the VDB representation of our skull geometry, which is not super high, so we're going to not be able to capture the details on the skull, like the eye sockets, for example, or the jaw. So let's increase the resolution by putting down a smaller number, 0.05. That's way better. So now we are ready to go back into the Autodop network, hit the U key and double click to go inside. And here, so essentially the inside and outside distance are your area of influence. And the outside distance will control the amount of attraction that is around your geometry. So you probably, depending on the look that you want to get, it just really, if you want a small amount of suction to happen, then you probably want a smaller number. And for the inside distance, to get those details, you also probably should use a smaller number. So we're going to set that to 0.5. And the outside distance, we're going to set it to 1. And for suction strength, we're going to increase it to a lot more because we want it to be fast and a lot. So I'm going to set it to 100,000. Now, the trick to the outside distance is for the effect that we want to get, we want the suction to happen kind of early in the part of the sim, but over time as it collects the flip fluid, we want it to stop over time or just slowly die off. So halfway through, we're going to key the amount of the outside distance to something less. So let's actually do that now. Hit the Alt key and left mouse button click. Make sure you're in frame 1. Click in the outside distance field, and now it's keyed. I'm going to turn this off to manual from auto update, and I already know which frame I want to set this to, so it's 158 for me. and I'm going to set this to 0.4 and Alt and left mouse button click to keyframe that. Now I'm going to hit Control and up arrow keys to go back to frame 1 and change this back to auto update. And by the way, if you wish to see a preview of your surface, you can hit the U key, and where it says Fluid Tank Fluid, double click to go inside and move the display flag to the particle fluid surface, and that is the surface that's going to be rendered. So let's move the display flag down to the dop import and hit the up arrow key. And now we can do a flip book. So you can choose your settings here in size. Let me just call up a flip book that is already done and play it back. And now you can see that it's fast suction force and it's capturing all the details around the skull, the eye sockets in the jaw, and the suction force has died off because the shape of the skull has been created. And that's how you can use a suction fluid tool on a static object in Houdini.